Hi guys, this is Kristen. Today I'm going to be talking about the book in a day reading strategy. For myself personally, I would use this strategy with 8th grade to 12th grade students. So what is the book in a day strategy? The book in a day strategy is a reading strategy that builds background knowledge for a historical event or a time period for something that you're going to teach in the future. The contents of just one book can be used as a segue into another book. So you might use this to fill a small gap period of history in your world or your U.S. history class, or possibly as an example or a segue into a new unit to kind of give students some pre-teaching, some background knowledge before moving on to the next topic. So how do you use it in the classroom? First, you're going to assign partners or groups, however that works out in your classroom. Each group reads their portion or their chapter of a book. Then, each group is going to summarize the main points of their reading in just in a real short 2 to 3 minute presentation. Then they draw some kind of visual to represent their reading, because we need to keep in mind that we have all different types of learners in our classroom, and a visual can be really helpful for a multiple amount of students in your room. And then the students will develop questions that show their understanding of the reading. So they're going to be asking these questions of their peers. While they're giving this summary, students will present their reading in chronological order. So if you have a book that has chapters 1 through 9, then your group 1 is going to present chapter 1, your group 2 is going to present chapter 2, and so on. So it's going to be just like they were reading the book themselves. And then they present their summary again with at least one visual. This is important for differing learners. And then each group asks their questions for understanding of their reading, because again, we want to make sure that students are absorbing and understanding this material as if they had read it themselves. Once the presentations are over, students can work together as a whole group to create a story map, a timeline, even with Post-its or some other type of summary that perhaps your classroom already uses. To help groups with their summaries, students can use the Explore graphic organizer. And a teacher came up with this idea, and I thought it was really cool. So let's walk through the Explore graphic organizer. As you can see, it has each of the the letters of Explore outlined. So let's go through each one. The EX, the student writes an example of the genre, the author, or the style. And let me back up by just saying that this could be a good way, especially if you have a little bit younger student or varying ability student, that they can think through what the teacher's asking them to do with the summary. So again, the student writes an example of the genre, author, or style. The P, students write what they believe to be the author's purpose for writing this text. So why is your teacher having you read this? What's the point? L, what are the key words, names, places worth remembering from this reading? O, in what ways did the organization of this reading help me read this? Or in what ways did the organization of this reading take away from my understanding of this reading? So, how was the book set up in order to promote easy reading? Or perhaps there were distractions happening within the book in which the way it was formatted that distracted from your learning. R, how can I relate to what I just read? And E, evaluate the reading by thinking about my aha moments, what questions I have, and what connections I made. So we want students to be able to transfer this knowledge into other content areas, develop empathy if that applies. We want them to be able to transfer the reading, and I should say summarizing, because we're doing a summary, correct? The summarizing that they're hearing of these chapters, we want them to be able to transfer that into their other content areas as well as their real life. We want them to understand the point of what we're reading and summarizing. So in summary, the book in a day strategy, really great, especially for some of your older, late middle school and all of high school learners. A great strategy that helps teach information in a fast way while ensuring students understand the material. And again, those groups are going to be doing those check for understanding questions to make sure that students are understanding the material. It promotes teamwork to learn information quickly. and it helps students with their presentation skills, their group skills, and it can bridge your class into a new unit really easily in just one day. So think of all the standards and all the things that you have to get through. If you give each group one chapter to read, your class can read a book in an entire day, and I think that's really cool. So I hope that you find this strategy helpful and that you're able to use it in your classroom. Thanks so much. Bye.